All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me again. We are still deconstructing Bootstrap in a way that teaches us the advanced functionality of Sass CSS. And we're going to start over with this time, we're going to just refactor pre-existing styles that I already had. We're going to be looking at buttons today because I was digging through some code that I had and found a ridiculous amount of styles that seem to be just repeating themselves, as well as the fact that in this case I actually had two different button files that were being kind of merged together. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on, and so I thought this was the perfect opportunity to see if we can apply some of the things that we've already learned. And I've got open Bootstrap style sheet. This is me just copying and pasting out of Bootstrap. So there are some things here that come from, I believe it's just the buttons.scss file, although I am importing Bootstrap as well, the entire thing, just to keep things a little bit simple. But we may end up needing to reference how they've done it. I do think a lot of this is way overkill for probably the vast majority of design systems for like a specific company, because Bootstrap has to be able to service a lot of different possible types. It may be in a product, it may be on a marketing site, it may have a ton of different use cases, and so it needs to be a little bit more robust than maybe your standard website needs. So we'll see what happens here. But what I want to do is I have this buttons official. I want to kind of move everything into buttons official, and we'll see what that does, see what happens. But just as a little bit of a tour, I guess, we have our secondary button. You can't see my mouse, but when I hover over it, it fills in with the color. Then we have our primary, which for right now is just black, and then it reverses to that kind of ghost button. And then we have button red. We have a problematic button tertiary, which does not show when it's not hovered, which is a problem we can fix. And then there's this outline primary, which is a misnomer, so it's not actually outlined ever. So we got some work to do. And technically I also have this little guy right here, the to top button. So if I were to click on this button that says top, it would take me to the top of the page. I threw that in there in case we were just really wanting to explore all the possible buttons in the pre-existing styles. But for right now, I think we need to focus on kind of cleaning these guys up and seeing what we can do also for accessibility, because if I'm using the keyboard and I hit tab, you can see there's a little bit of an outline. It's not the greatest. A better one on this one, so it's already a problem that we have multiple outlines for no reason. And when I switch keep going, you can see the outline is now gone, and there's just a lot of problems with accessibility the way that things are right now. And so yeah, let's see what we can tackle. We'll pop on over to our buttons right here first. This was the older buttons, and then I had gone in and tried to update things, and that's why there ended up being two different style sheets for the same use, for the same component. So let's figure out what we can do. And actually, I think the first thing I want to do is just kind of start with a base mix in. I'll put it in right here, but I'll probably move this over to button official, and then hopefully we'll just get rid of buttons and then change the name or something like that. So let's create a mix in right off the bat, and I'm gonna call it button base. Yeah. And I don't know what it needs right now as far as arguments, but we already know that just like the standard .btn, that is Bootstrap. Apparently I needed these to kind of override what is in Bootstrap already. I'm not going to go into how we can use Bootstrap better because I'm really confident that we can actually just change a couple of settings and then these will actually not have to be part of it. But ultimately, I would even like to extricate myself from Bootstrap. So using Bootstrap to help me learn all of these secrets and then get out of having to use Bootstrap at all. And that's not a slant at all to Bootstrap, the framework. It's really a marvelous framework. I've loved it. I've used it all the time, but I would like to be able to construct my own design systems without having to lean on their robust system. I think that would be a nice thing for my career, for my skills. So I'm gonna go ahead and include this, include button base, and yeah, if I save, there shouldn't be anything changing. So looks like we're good to go. And then let's see. Yeah, because actually we can already see we're not even using this border radius. And let me pull in here the top button again. Nope. Not gonna play nicely with this screen, but yeah, so we're just gonna ignore that for now, I guess. So maybe button to top. I don't know. We'll see what we do. Okay, so we have our standard button. We wanted these to be. This makes it seem like it should have been like a pill shape, but then we are overriding it in buttons official. And what I've done here is I actually have a CSS variable for those different times when I need it to be this rounded corner like you can see on the left side of the screen, and then the button border radius when it's supposed to be like a pill shaped, meaning like a perfectly round cap on both sides. So yeah, we're already kind of fighting with this. So I'm actually just gonna get rid of border radius because yeah, we've already got some issues going on, but that's okay. Let's see what happens if I just make some ridiculous change here to see if it's, yeah, see, I'm even overriding all of this. So ultimately this whole button class was totally useless. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just pull this out actually, and I'll swap this over. So I'm gonna cut this and make it into its own style or class, just on its own. And then I don't even know, this is, yeah, we'll just keep going. We'll just assume that I need to overwrite the Bootstrap base button. And then let me just double check here. So yeah, every button is going to have a color for the text. Every button is going to have the background color, and then I think we should have a border, just because it makes it really hard to line things up when you go from a button that doesn't have a border to one that does. Like maybe the secondary is always filled in, but one has a border, and so it'll be slightly off. It's really frustrating to fix that. So I'd rather just play around with, even if it's like this button red where the hover state doesn't change, so it needs a color of a border. It's still gonna line up nicely if hopefully that makes sense. I lost my train of thought there, but if we go back in here, we can see we're calling color a lot, border color a lot. So yeah, I want to make sure that we have a border color, a color, and a background color on every button, so that there's no kind of weird alignment issues that we can see, even for those that don't really need a border technically. I think that's what I was trying to say. So up here, sorry for the back and forth. I'll just grab this because it's all three properties that we want. And I'm going to add these as part of our base style. So we know that we can pass in some colors for these to be placeholders. So maybe this will become a default value. So we could just say we need a text color, right? So I'll just say color, and then I need to make this oops, there we go, a variable. We're gonna make the default be the color primary, which is pulling in from another style sheet in abstracts. And so the color's taken care of there. Oops. And then we need a border color. So border color. Yeah. Again, I need the $sign, and then we'll just keep using this color primary variable for the defaults, and then the background color, BG color, and then this will also be that. And then let's go ahead and stuff in our variables that we just set in this parameters area. So border color is going to be the border color, and then the background color will be the background color, BG color. So now if I save, we can see it is affecting some things, like this weird outline primary has now changed both the background and the text color. So and that makes sense, I guess, because now it's setting, let's double check the code here. So now we're setting basically all of these colors the same, which is incorrect. Because we want contrast for the color. So maybe what I'll actually do is call this white. We have a white and a black. So if I know the primary color is the default, it should be the same as the color of the border, just to be safe. So if it needs a border that's different, then we can change that, but usually we're just going to have a solid button. And so the border needs to match the background. The color is going to be the opposite color for enough contrast. And if I save and head back over here, okay, we still are having some issues. So I suspect there's something else going on there. So we have a sort of a base. I wonder what else. You know what? Probably should get rid of border 0 if the border color is going to be set. And then the last thing, let's see here. I do want to have a hover active focus state on all of my buttons, because the other thing that I see as a big problem is I have to, like, every time, a designer says, oh, actually we want another button and it's going to have this color, like button red, then I have to reassign all of these properties every time. And so, yeah, this is where it gets kind of interesting, right? Where we need to find out what is it that we can do to make this mix-in work in a bunch of different situations. Right now, the easiest way is literally just to have you pass in these colors. But I'm betting Bootstrap is doing something a little bit different. If we look over at their Sass file here, let's see if we can find it. We've got a bunch of styles that are kind of their standard. Yeah, that's like their base style here. And they're not actually using a mix-in for button itself, but they are using, they are including other mix-ins into it. So that is instructive. That does make me wonder if maybe going a mix-in for the base is maybe not the right way to go. But I think there's still, and so then they're adding these little focus visible, hover states. What if it has this and a hover, yeah, so they're obviously very robust. Like I said, they've even got the disabled stuff in there. But I still think we're kind of on the right track here. I want to see what we can do with this. So for right now, the defaults are just going to be reversed. So actually, yeah, I guess that's where that makes it difficult when you're flipping things. So it's almost like I need to define. Let's see. Okay, let me see what they do with just the hover state. So like we've got hover. Okay, so they have all of these split out into kind of your theme, I guess, is what we could call it. So maybe instead the real strategy here is going to be something like let's define some CSS variables that we can use that are going to be just standard. So our button primary button primary background is going to be this guy right here, and then we're going to swap out actually this. So the background is going to be var button primary background. Okay. And actually we may not need to do this if we just are setting up there's no reason to add another variable when we've already got it. Oops. We've already got it defined above here. So we have a primary background. We know that we're going to need a primary text color, so color, and we're going to set that as white. And then we're going to use this instead of color. So var primary color. And then we're also going to say border color. It's going to be the same. Border color is still going to be the same color as the primary for right now. And so now we're again back to a mix-in with nothing needing to be passed in, and then we're just going to swap this one out for border color. So now we can just swap them. So when I need the hover state to be engaged, right, we have our primary BG, and then we can add in the state after that, so hover, and then we can say, you know what, this is when I know that I want it to reverse, so I want it to be white, and then I also want the color hover to be color primary, and then the border is just going to stay the same. So let's see if we can do it like this. So button primary color, save. We need to switch this out. Let's see, this one, and then primary. Let's see, what do we call it? Border color. Border color, and then the background is going to be the var background hover. Is that correct? Let's see. Oh no, this needs to be on hover, and then this border color is going to be. We're just not going to define it because we already have it up here, so we don't even need that. So if I save, and I'm not actually sure if this is going to be taken into consideration just yet. So let's go ahead and go back here, and you know what? I'm just going to abandon buttons altogether. So I'm going to grab all of this, and we're going to put it actually in this official official button Sass file right here. Okay, so now we've taken care of some of this. Let's go ahead and say, oh yeah, and let's grab this. So we can actually just get rid of this whole thing right there. And we're gonna import all of this into there. And actually, let's go ahead and update this, since that was the official padding anyway. So we're just cleaning up just a little bit really fast, and then the border radius, I guess, can be moved in here as well. And so hopefully if we migrate over to here, we can see, okay, so it is definitely starting to mess with some stuff. Button red has lost its color, but it is now doing what we said. So the primary color is black. We're saying that if you are inheriting the button base, the border color should be black, which you can't see. The text color is white, and on reverse it reverses the two colors. It's not keeping the border color. Okay, that's interesting. It is on that one. So there are definitely some things that we still need to work out. So let's go back here and just try to clean up this file right here. Buttons official. We've gotten our button base down here. So now, yeah, this is where we need to start. Actually, we can do a quick check here by just saying, you know what, primary is already taken care of. We don't really even need, you know what, that's probably why Bootstrap has a separate class. So they have the .btn class separated from the btn primary, secondary, etc. At first I thought that was kind of silly, but now it kind of makes sense that we just want to overwrite the default button styles, because the HTML button just by default is kind of ugly and has a lot of problems with trying to fit it into your styles. So to think of it as .btn is actually just overriding that default HTML style. So maybe we actually get rid of overriding button at all and just let Bootstrap take care of it for now. And then I'm gonna swap this in for button primary, because we've basically defined our primary button. So really this shouldn't be button base, it should be button primary. And so if I change this here and here, then I should be able to get rid of this. Actually, we should be able to get rid of all of this. And hopefully we switch back over to Chrome, double check here. Yeah, so now it's no longer messing with our previous buttons here, but we can see this is now looking interesting. Actually, all of the padding has changed, so it is still maintaining this is our primary button, the buy now. It is maintaining padding. All the other ones have shrunk, so that means that they are not using our base padding, because we pulled that out right here. We put that in here, and none of the other types of buttons actually have padding defined. So what we do have is, we know that padding is actually, it really should be one of our base like properties up here. So button padding, this should be standard, right? So, oh, I need to get rid of this. And then, so we should be setting this as our button base. So maybe what we actually do is we'll copy this, we'll create that .btn class one more time, and this time we're going to assign our padding to button padding. And if I do that, then all of our buttons are now at the right padding. So now they're all consistent. Okay, that does make a lot more sense than maybe what I was originally trying to do. But it is nice to kind of think of this as, here's our theme. This is where we control all of our settings. Here's our override class for like the default stuff. So technically I'm not overriding HTML buttons. I'm overriding the Bootstrap BTN class, which is overriding the HTML button. So yeah, we are still adding a little bit more complexity than we need to. But again, we're not trying to totally extricate ourselves from Bootstrap just yet. But that will be something to remember in the future. I'm actually just going to put that as a to-do. Get rid of Bootstrap opportunity. So I'll keep that in mind if we end up looking at this again. And then we have our button primary. So we are defining, this is our theme now. So basically we're saying this is a themed button where it has a specific color and it acts in a specific way on hover active focus. And so we could create a bunch of these. And I guess that's where I'm getting stuck again, is I don't want to have to create as many mix-ins as there were classes, right? So I still have to put in manually the colors for each different, if it's a primary button, I put in the primary styles and the tertiary and secondary. I just want one mix-in that can take care of all of those. So maybe what we actually do is, I think we did this in a previous live stream where it was actually, we had a theme variable. The default can be primary, I guess, since that's going to be pretty much your standard like go-to button. And then we check for the theme. If the theme equals primary, then do these guys. But then we still have to repeat ourselves for each theme. So maybe what I want to do is, you know what? I'm going to go look at what we did before. I think we had like kind of a map. I wonder if I got rid of it already. Yeah, something like this. So maybe this is what we do. And we kind of do this each thing, kind of like what we did with those circles, trying to get those to alternate. All right, because I don't want to have, just in case I wasn't clear, I don't want to have like 4 if statements and the exact same code over and over again, because I feel like that's too repetitive. So I'm just gonna try and have Sass output it for me, without me having to have as many lines of code, is basically what I'm getting at. So if I go in here, uncomment all of this, and let's call this our button themes. And we're just going to define, so let's see, name and color. So we could do, like, this could be primary. This is our primary theme, secondary, tertiary. And then, let's see, how else do we do this though? So we've got our themes. We have a primary, secondary, tertiary. This can be the name. And let's hurry and hook this up so that basically what I'm trying to do here is button and then primary. So instead of having this style right here, button primary, let's just have it, see how it has the same pattern, btn dash, and then we've got our theme. So what if it could tell us, Oh, yeah, what if it could tell us which one of these to use, I guess. Um we could try it where um hmm because then it outputs this color. So I'm trying to figure out here how we want to make this work. So I want it to have a background color. So every button needs to have a background color, and it's, you know, in our design system, we're just gonna say it's swapping, right? So for the most part, we're reversing the colors. So right now the primary is black with white text, then we swap it out. I'm not entirely sure what this color is on the outline there, but it should be a black outline with black text and a white background. The only one that is weird is this little button red, and we can probably figure out a way to do this in a different mix-in or something. So let's say if the name of the theme is primary, that's our button dash primary, we already know what the background should be, and we technically already know what the reverse should be. So really what we should be doing yeah, I'm still just getting stuck on, like, what do I put here, because I'm not sure. I don't want to have to do this a whole bunch of times. I wonder if I can do button theme. Well, let's go back to Bootstrap and see how they're doing that. So they're including things, including mix-ins. Button hover color. So they're actually grabbing a prefix, which is also really interesting. So I wonder how that works. So yeah, I'm already stalling on this. I know. But they can use prefixes. So our prefix is the theme name. And then they're just setting. So let me just comment this out one more time. Instead of using an if like that, we're gonna look at this and say, actually, yeah, maybe that's how you do it. We can take theme, if it's whatever it is, primary, secondary, tertiary. Can I copy this in here so that wherever it says primary, we're going to export whatever I passed in as the theme. So again, I think we need to circle this with curly braces and the pound sign. And then, same thing down here. Let's grab this really fast. Primary. So, potentially, we can just now create this again. This will be secondary, and then we have to pass in, I'll do explicitly, theme is primary and theme is secondary. And let's go ahead and I'll just turn off these styles so we can see it working, if it does work at all. And the last thing I think we need to do is just take care of all of these colors up here and turn them into secondaries. So put space, we'll grab all the ways it says primary and change it to secondary. All right, so I'm gonna turn it to this view. We're gonna save and see if it updates. Okay, actually that did work. So now our button secondary, the default state is no longer outlined. The default state is actually full color, and that's because of what we've done right here. So if I wanted it to go back the way it was, where the secondary is actually the outlined button, then all we have to do is actually change, let's see, BG, we would want this to be the reverse, and this to be white. If I save that, let's see, I think I am still, yeah, and then we need to swap the colors as well. So this needs to be white, and this needs to be our purple color. So if I save that, we can see it. Yeah, hey, now it's back. And that worked. I'm actually very surprised that, that I figured that one out. Okay, that's actually kind of cool, because guess what? I got rid of all of this redundancy. I could even do one more with the tertiary. This one already was kind of problematic, right? So we have a problematic one, and I don't actually have, so let's get rid of this. We should actually see this. Yeah, okay, so it does come up now, but it has nothing on it. Let's just do one more so that we can fix this tertiary button. Tertiary and tertiary. And then all we have to do is now define yet another theme, where we're just going to go in here, swap them for tertiary. And I actually don't believe I have a color tertiary, so let's just set one up right here at the top. So let's make it really obvious. We'll just do like just straight green, so that we can see this working, hopefully. Okay, so now you can see it turned it green, and now it's working. It has the exact same what's it called, pattern, I guess, as the secondary button, where it's not a full when I'm over here with my mouse, it is an outline button. When I hover over it, that's when it flips the color, reverses the color, so that it's switches to a filled button. And then our primary is the one that stays filled, so it stays, pretty obvious, I guess. Okay, well, you know what, that is actually pretty cool. I'm surprised that worked, because I've had a tough time kind of wrapping my head around some of the strategies behind this, but that is actually pretty cool, because we've just gotten rid of how many lines here? 86 to 68. I mean, almost 20 lines of code there. We did add a little bit up here with these guys. We could turn these also into Sass variables, so that they're not being output into the style sheet. Yet another way to just think about things is how this is impacting the load, I guess, of your style sheets. I think for most of this stuff, probably the theming could be done as Sass variables. Maybe that's another way to refactor it in another live stream. But I do kind of like having some of these things output to our CSS, just because then I can use them on non-precompiled style sheets. So whether that's like something I had to insert with JavaScript, or just do a quick inline style, I have these available. Probably don't want a ton of them. Uh, Probably just want the colors, really, the primary, tertiary, that kind of thing. Um, so there are still some opportunities here to clean this up, but otherwise, we got rid of quite a few excess lines of code that don't need to be there, because we don't, yeah, we just didn't need to keep reassigning the exact same things over and over again manually, I guess is what I'm getting at. We're just letting Sass do all of that so that our Sass file is super clean. I mean, it's literally just right here that's on your screen that you see. Um, that could be everything that's in the buttons official. If I took all of this out and put them in the abstracts where they kind of belong. So that's pretty cool to me. Let's go ahead and stop there. We've cleaned up a lot, and we're starting to use some of that advanced power of Sass. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope this will be really helpful for you at work this next week. I know that there are a lot of things that I can bring now to my work coming up, and I'm excited to see where that takes us. So thanks again for joining. We'll see you around.